stick it out a little longer. Because they'll say, we lived like that for decades, and we made it. Sigh. But let me just say this one last thing. It's okay to stay single. It's okay to never get married. But what's not okay is to be unhappy.
中国的婚恋市场啊，越来越奇葩了。
China's dating and marriage market is getting more and more bizarre. Take big cities like Shenzhen and Nanjing. At matchmaking parks, the gender ratio has reached 50 women for every one man. Yes, 50 women competing for a single guy. Even at matchmaking dinner events, women are usually the ones rejected, and the men? They won't show up even if it's free. But wait, aren't Chinese women all about independence now? And isn't the male population still 30 million higher than the female one? So what's going on? A lot of people already know the answer. Men are backing out of the dating and marriage market, crushed under financial pressure. Some criticize. Today's men give up too early. They're young and already lying flat, refusing to take responsibility. But the real question is, can they even afford that responsibility? Let's look at a real case. A regular woman from Shanghai posted her dating requirements. She wanted a man who owns a fully paid apartment in Jing'an district. My God, that's the heart of Shanghai, the most expensive part of the Magic City. I looked it up. In good areas, prices are over 100,000 yuan per square meter. Even bad areas go for 80,000. So a basic two-bedroom apartment? Close to 10 million yuan. Now, imagine a man who really has that 10 million. If he lives another 50 years and chooses to stay single, he could spend about 300,000 yuan per year, including investment returns. That's about 25,000 yuan a month in personal spending money. Would you rather enjoy a carefree, peaceful life? Or find someone to split your assets and drain your emotions? Some might say, but that's Shanghai, it's extreme. Okay, let's talk about smaller cities. Buy a house, 1 million. Bride price, dowel 200,000 to 300,000. Car, 200,000. These basic expenses easily add up to 2 million yuan. Yet the average monthly salary for private sector workers in Chinese cities is 6,000 to 7,000 yuan. If a man doesn't get help from his parents and starts saving every penny right after graduation, no eating, no drinking, it would take until age 35 to afford marriage. But by then? He's considered an oily middle-aged man, and women don't want him anymore. Some people might say, not all the costs need to fall on the man, right? Well, let me tell you something. How many men on dating platforms do you see demanding that the woman owns property, a car, or makes a certain salary? Almost none. But women? Nearly 100% of them have financial demands for the man. Why don't men make demands too? Don't they want a rich wife? Some kind of security? Of course they do. But men understand the unspoken rule of this society. A woman's money is hers alone. Even if you ask for some of it, it doesn't matter, you won't get it. But a man's money? That's for both of you, or just for her. If the man doesn't own a home and the woman does. How many men have the guts to ask, can I have my name added to the property deed? Try it. People will think you've lost your mind. Women say, I have to give birth, I'll lose my youth. The man should pay for that. But let's be honest, how many men today want kids just to carry on the family line? In 2010, there were 15.88 million births in China. By 2024, that number dropped to 9.54 million. And that's not even counting other male expenses, meals, gifts, milk tea, travel. It's basically men paying for everything. Splitting bills 50-50? Just talk. In reality, men carry the financial burden of dating and marriage, and that burden keeps growing. From 2010 to 2023, the price of a typical Chinese engagement ring went from 12,000 yuan to 58,000 yuan. According to the 2024 China Dating and Marriage Report, women in top-tier cities now expect their boyfriend's income to be 38,000 yuan per month, up from 12,000 in 2015. Seriously, with that standard, only Western Europeans would qualify for marriage. And even if a man does meet the financial expectations, he still faces huge risks and unfairness. In regions where bride prices are high, divorce rates are even higher than in major cities. Why? Because many people use marriage as a scam, leaving men broke and alone. And sure, women can openly demand a house, car, and cash before marriage. But after all that, can the man ask her to help with housework? If he dares to say that, he'll be labeled toxic masculinity. But from a division of labor perspective, if the man is earning more money, then he naturally has less time for housework. It makes sense. Also, during holidays and birthdays, giving women gifts has become a non-negotiable rule. But whoever asks, do men need gifts too? A woman gets a 300 yuan lipstick and says, meh, it's okay. A man gets a chocolate bar and feels like he won the lottery. When the economic cost of marriage exceeds what a person can bear, and when men realize that spending money doesn't buy true affection, staying single becomes the most rational choice. If we want to fix the more women, fewer men problem, the only solution is to lighten the burden on men and stop this consumerist brainwashing of women. Only then can love and marriage return to what they truly mean.
Even without much hands-on dating experience, in theory, I'm basically a relationship expert by now. That's why people are always coming to me to vent. I've even spent entire nights crying with friends on my shoulder. Today's topic is arranged blind dates. That sort of Damocles hanging over every past marriage age young adult's head. And it all started with a story from a friend of mine. Yes, a real friend. He told me that, during a family dinner, an older and respected relative pulled him aside and said, "Look, you're not that young anymore. Maybe it's time to start thinking about your situation. There's a great girl I know. I'll send you her WeChat, you two should meet." My friend wanted to say no, but he looked around and saw all the aunts and uncles hyping it up, and his parents giving him that look of hopeful expectation. He caved, said thank you, and added the girl on WeChat. As they started talking, he realized she didn't match his expectations at all, not in education, not in income, not in profession. Their chat was polite enough, but it was clear she wasn't very enthusiastic either. Worse, she still lived in their hometown. It was obvious his parents set this up as a way to pressure him to leave Shanghai and move back home. I thought, okay, but if you don't like her, just say no, right? And he replied, "It was my mom who arranged it, and her motto is, you never know, maybe you'll like her once you meet. Maybe it's fate." Turns out, older folks love to talk about fate. But for today's young people, fate doesn't stand a chance against the algorithms on dating apps. Dating a 2D character in a video game can be more interesting than dealing with real people. If you agree, drop a 1 in the chat. The truth is, arranged dating has become a dying art among young people. If you check the Douban groups full of rants about blind dates, there are over 170,000 members sharing their horror stories. On Jihu, there's a popular question: have you ever been traumatized by a blind date? There are over 30,000 replies. Even the toughest alpha male needs 2 packs of cigarettes just to process the trauma. Even the most confident social queen puts down her lipstick and sighs in disappointment. And after hearing so many people, here's the conclusion. Blind dates rarely bring real love. Worse, you might end up meeting a weirdo, wasting money on dinner, offending a relative, and pissing off your parents all in one night. So first, let's correct a misconception. Expecting to find true love on a blind date is like trying to find a live duck in Nanjing or a rabbit with its head intact in Chengdu. Not impossible, just highly unlikely unless you're extremely lucky or slightly reckless. The problem is this fantasy of romantic love. It's like that famous Jihu post. You love folk music, soccer, writing, dream of Italy, adore fried chicken and beer, and want to play all-night mahjong with Wang Xiaobo, Kui Jian, and Da Vinci. But to a blind date candidate, all of that is about as relevant as your appendix. You think it's what makes you human. But in the matchmaking market, these qualities are meaningless. Love can spark for 1,000 random reasons. Maybe it's the way someone pays the bill, or how they spend their money. Maybe you both hate the same anime character. Maybe your smile is sweeter than a super idol's. But here's the thing. The goal of arranged dating is marriage. Love is just a side effect. And in this process, love doesn't rank higher than property, car, job, degree, appearance, or residency status. If you bring emotional qualities to the table as if they're assets, you might overestimate your uniqueness and forget you might be lacking the basics. That's why so many people on blind dates are ***, ordinary and overconfident *** at the same time. As one woman once put it, if I don't marry a rich heir, then my looks, my body, my social etiquette, my character, even my soul will all go to waste. And the truth is, even marriage itself has drifted far from love. Marriage is now the merger of two family units. Especially in big cities, where a marriage often involves millions in property, it's practically a corporate acquisition. And in a business deal like that, who cares about love? If marriage is an acquisition, then a blind date is just a step in asset valuation. And what's valuation? It's trying to figure out what something is worth before making a deal. In dating, that means chatting, gathering info, getting to know the person, and judging if it's worth proceeding. And where there's valuation, there's error. One person's treasure is another's trash. Young people's values are completely incompatible with their parents. Take my friend again, he felt offended by the woman he was introduced to. But I told him, you think she's not good enough, but are you sure she would accept you? You make tens of thousands a year in Shanghai. Big deal. To people in your hometown, that means nothing. You didn't take a civil service exam, don't work in a state-owned company, and have no intention of moving back? You're basically a failure in their eyes. You think your high rent is impressive? They think you're irresponsible with money. You look down on small-town income, they look down on your reckless spending. To the matchmaker, you're perfect for each other. Two broken people hoping to fix each other. At the end of the day, arranged dating is about matching social class. My friend was so annoyed he blocked the matchmaker on WeChat. And that's what makes arranged dating so ridiculous. There's no real market price for human beings. When buying property, both buyer and seller have expectations, and the agent just facilitates. But in arranged dating, everyone has a different idea of what someone is worth. Add ego to that and everyone thinks they're worth more than they are. And worse, this is a multi-party valuation system. You've got the man's self-valuation, the woman's self-valuation, each person's valuation of the other, the matchmaker's evaluation of both. That's 4 separate systems, 6 combinations of expectations. And we haven't even included the parents yet. If all these valuations aren't aligned, the corporate merger falls apart. Tough, right? And with no objective benchmarks, everything becomes subjective. That's why so many people go online saying, I went on a blind date and met a total weirdo. But often, the problem isn't the person, it's the broken system. It's like someone with 50 Kelvin trying to buy a penthouse apartment. Nothing wrong with either party, but without clear expectations, the agent matches them, and of course, it ends in disaster. No deal, both sides feel insulted, and then go cry online about losing faith in love and marriage. But love and marriage aren't the problem. The real culprit is the chaotic valuation system of the arranged dating market. And you know who else is to blame? The relatives. Because instead of using professional platforms, family arranged dates are free. And what's free? Usually ends up being the most expensive of all. As Lu Qi, the emotional soup chef of early Chinese internet once said, if someone introduces you to a decent single man who you genuinely like, that favor is worth 200,000 yuan. And what about men? In the arranged dating world, they're the scarce resource. Usually they don't even pay, but remember, if the service is free, you are the product. I won't dive into that right now. Maybe in another video we can talk about dating and gender more calmly. What matters is, no one walks away unharmed. When you get dragged into one of those setups by well-meaning relatives and friends, you might not pay with money, but the hidden cost is sky high. Think about it. Any corporate merger goes through intense auditing. Lawyers and accountants pulling all-nighters to check every detail. But when a relative wants to introduce you to someone, at most, they'll ask, how much does he make? Is she pretty? How old? How tall? And that's it. Boom, date arranged. They don't even bother to ask if you want to get married, what you're actually looking for in a partner, or, believe it or not, if you even like the opposite sex. To them, any human being seems good enough to throw your way. Honestly, could it get less professional? Result: you'll almost always meet someone who's nowhere near what you had in mind. If you're lucky, you'll get along, maybe even become friends. 10 years later, you send each other New Year greetings. If you're unlucky, you'll both be totally unimpressed. And boom, another awkward story for Duban, another furious Jihu post titled Blind Date from Hell. I've got a friend, yes, another one whose mom dragged him to a blind date. Afterward, he told her, Mom, with all due respect, just look at him. Now picture yourself in my shoes. If someone set you up with him, would you go? And also, didn't you marry Dad because he was handsome? So why do I get a lower standard? Am I even your biological child? And here's the worst part. If by some miracle your blind date actually turns into something real, congrats, you just incurred a 200,000 yuan moral debt to your family's self-proclaimed Cupid. And of course, that person will spend the rest of their life bragging. I set them up, look how perfect they are together. Even if, deep down, they had absolutely nothing to do with your happiness. Last year, a viral topic exploded online called the 985 Matchmaking Club. Basically, it's a dating platform exclusively for the elite. Graduates from top universities, returnees from overseas, high-income professionals with property and cars. Yes, you can only join if you're part of the elite. The club became a meme. On one side, people were mocking the arrogance and elitism. On the other, they were laughing. Even geniuses can't find love, huh? Where's all that elite charm now? You're single just like the rest of us. But honestly, these high IQ folks are just doing what everyone should. They admitted that blind dating is all about pricing people. If that's the case, then fine, lay all the criteria out on the table. Salary, degree, job title, property. If this is a corporate merger, the valuation should be transparent. The 985 Club is nothing more than a place with a single unified value system elitist. Sure, but consistent. Just like the famous matchmaking park in Shanghai's People's Square has its own system. The difference? That one is more down to earth, tailored to what parents want, more practical. Both are two extremes of the same logic. Refined selfishness disguised as love. The less romance involved, the higher the matchmaking efficiency, and that brings us to the point. Why do young people hate arranged blind dates so much? To me, the answer is simple. The older generation is deeply pessimistic about love. They don't believe love leads to marriage. They think dating is a waste of time. They follow this logic, something Gabriel Garcia Marquez once wrote. The key to social life is overcoming fear. The key to marriage is overcoming disgust.